The Catcher in the Rye. It's a book. Caulfield, our main character, is going to give us a very interesting and memorable story of the 3 days before his Christmas break. What was the story about again? So the story starts with Holden watching an oval game on top of a hill at his school, Pensy Prep. He just got back from a stick match and received word from his headmaster that he failed all of his classes except English this semester, making this his 4th boarding school he flunked. He gets a letter from his history teacher, Mr. Spencer, inviting him to his house before he leaves the school. So Holden goes over to Spencer's house and he notices a couple of things. First of all, the bed that he's sitting on is incredibly hard and uncomfortable to sit on. Mr. Spencer is like 70 years old, and he looks crusty and old. He smells like Vicks nose drops. He's got a tattered bathrobe on. So Spencer's all, "How can you fail me, boy?" And Holden's all, well, Mr. Spencer, I tried really hard, you know. What more do you want? At least I didn't fail English. So Holden states that the reason he flunked other schools was that they were filled with phonies, and Holden hates phonies, just to get clear with that. He gets a lecture from the old fart, but he just can't focus. He can't stop thinking about where the ducks go when the lake freezes. It's just kind of fitting because it's winter, almost Christmas. He realizes that Spencer is kind of phony, so he skidoos out of there. He says that he left stuff in the gym locker, but he didn't because he's a dirty liar. So Holden goes to his dorm and gives us a brief history on his dorm wing, Ossenberger. He then talks about phonies like them fake actors and how big and snobby that head dude Mr. Firmer is, and how they're all phonies, how big and snobby they are, and how they're all phonies. So Holden's dormmate, Stradlater, comes in and is like, "Yo, can I borrow your jacket? And yo, can you write this essay for me? And yo, I'm going out with this Jane Gallagher chick. I'll be back soon." So Holden's all, "Wow, Jane Gallagher. I know her. When we were young and stuff, we would play together and yeah, whatever. Write that essay for me, Kay." So Holden writes an essay on his younger brother Allie, who died of leukemia a couple of years ago. And Allie used to write poems on his baseball mitt. He then starts to get worried about Jane, because, all them phonies lie about what they do to chicks, but, Stradlater's real deal, you know what I'm saying? So Pro Baller comes back in, and he doesn't explain much. Holden gets butthurt because of what little he said can be taken in a very sexual way. So Holden gets all, "Do we even lift bro on him?" And it turns out that he lifts. So Stradlater pushes him onto the bed. And he's like, "Yo, what's your problem, yo?" But Holden won't just stop insulting him. So he just socks him in the nose and knocks Holden straight out for 30 minutes. And then Stradlater goes back to bed. So Holden's had enough of phony Princey Prep from that situation. So he goes and grabs his bags, and he decides that it's time to leave. His parents haven't gotten word yet that he failed, so we'll figure that he'll just cruise through New York City, and then when they do get word and they go out to grab him, he'll just come back to Pensy Prep. But until then, he'll just cruise around New York City. So Holden's about to leave. He puts on his red hunting hat that he bought for $1 while he was at his stick match. And before he leaves, he screams at the top of his lungs, "Sleep tight, you morons." So Holden buys a hotel room, and he gets depressed about Jane. So he goes out to start drinking, and then he gets depressed about the people at the bar. And then he goes back home, gets depressed about Jane, goes back to another bar, and he's depressed about Jane. So after a long and painful day, Holden goes back to his hotel room. On the elevator back, elevator dude's all, "Yo, wanna buy a hooker?" Except, he says this a bit more subtle. And Holden's all, "Well, okay, how much does it cost?" And the elevator bro's like, $5. So this hooker chick is about the same age as Holden. So he's a bit nervous about this. And he chickens out, and he doesn't actually want sex. He just wants to talk to her. She leaves because, you know, prostitutes don't just talk to people, asking for $10, but Holden gives her $5. And then Elevator Bro comes in and he's like, yo, told you $10, bro. Give me what I asked. And he assaults Holden and steals all his money. So Holden leaves the hotel, and long story short, after meeting a bunch of different people, he's tired of the Big Apple, and he wants to leave to the rest and pretend that he's deaf and mute. He goes to see his sister, Phoebe, at her school to say goodbye. So he meets Phoebe, and Phoebe wants to go, but Holden's all, no, shut up. And then she starts crying, and Holden's all, hey, calm down. Just come to the zoo with me, okay? I'll make it up to you. So they go to the zoo, and there's a carousel there. And so Holden's like, go on, ride the carousel. But she's like, no, I'm too old. But she does it anyway. And so the book ends with Holden crying while he's watching his sister ride the carousel. And he decides he's not going to go be a mute in the West. He's going to just face facts and go to his parents. The end.